Hey guys, top of the morning. Happy October 9th, coming to you full of excitement, full of gratitude, and feeling really excited about the road ahead, where we are as a company, where I am as an individual, and where this group is and where this group is going. And so thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being present. We have a couple guests on the line today. So I want to say thank you to Claude for being here. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Randell, thank you for being here. Hopefully this gives you a glimpse of what our culture, our energy, and what this group all represents. So thank you for being here. My hope is that you take one thing from this group today that you can apply in your life and business. So as always, we're going to have somebody bring us out in true keep it moving fashion. And that person needs to be camera ready. They need to be sitting down, and that person needs to not be chewing. So I'm going to wait about 4 seconds and I'm going to pass it over to Mel. So Mel, that person's going to be you. I know. I'm always looking for somebody that has their camera ready. So Mel, let's go. Let's hear from you. Start the group off with some sentiment for the morning. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Let's go.
You guys, the power of the universe is a very, very powerful thing. And I want you guys to start paying attention to what was on your vision board 5 years ago. Because guess what was on my vision board? On my vision board 4 years ago was that I would be on stage one day holding a microphone in my hand on a very, very big stage, talking to masses of people. And guess what? On October 29th, I'm going to be at EXPCon in Miami at the convention center in front of thousands of agents. And I'm going to be moderating a panel talking about how to build success through relationships. Seriously, this shit works. So buckle up, start paying attention to what was on your mind. What were you manifesting 3-4 years ago? Where were you at last year? Where are you at today? And then, how can you tap into those people that are doing the things that you want to do, right? How can you get into those circles? How can you pull up a chair? How can you invite yourself to that meeting or that dinner or that mastermind? I'm a big advocate where, like, at this point, I don't even need an invitation. I'm inviting myself, right? Like, I don't even need an invitation. I'm just showing up, right? And I'm creating a seat at the table for myself, even if there is no seat for me. So how can you get into those rooms, and how can you link up with like-minded people, whether that's someone that's selling $100 million worth of real estate every single year or $10 million of real estate every single year, and crushing it at open houses or whatever it is that they're doing. Link up with those people and start hanging out around those circles and see how your life will transform. So with that being said, back to you, Coach. I'm out.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm so happy for you. So proud of you. Unfortunately, we have to bunk in the same condo. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to seeing you on stage, being at EXPCon. And, true testament of manifestation. And I remember when I got my real estate license, at that time I was single. I got my real estate license and I hung a vision board above my bed on the ceiling. I know you guys, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I hung it on my ceiling. So every single time I woke up, I was looking at the same thing. We're going to pass your real estate license the first time, and all these other things that I wanted to accomplish. And so it was never far from my mind. And when I look back at that time in my life, I accomplished every single thing that was on the vision board. People, when they came over to my house, they thought I was crazy because I had this on my ceiling. I was crazy. I was crazy for my own results. And I was crazy about the life that I'm creating and manifesting. So Melody, I truly connect with that message. And so huge congratulations on you bringing this all to fruition. So guys, I want to share a couple things with you, and I want to put you on game. I've said this before, but I think that it needs to be reminded here. And so I'm going to highly recommend that you take a note or take some notes. How many of you in the past 30 days have created some type of video about the market, about rates, about insurance, about fire safety, about anything that is educational? Just throw up a hand, an emoji. If you've created some content that is educational based, throw a hand up. I want to see it. And if you didn't, then what are you waiting for? All right, so I see some hands up there. And if you guys can, use the emoji down on the reactions button on the bottom. That way I can see you guys. All right, cool. So I was inspired by this because on Monday, we talked about making an impact and making sure that these messages are on multiple different verticals. And so I wanted to give you an example of that right now. I saw a video that Cortez posted yesterday that unfortunately he knew somebody, I think it was his neighbor, that passed away. There was a house fire, and it was a heartfelt message. And on the back end of that message, he shared some safety tips on, what to do, precautionary measures should you ever put yourself or be in a fire situation. And I thought it was a really, really good video. And so when I'm thinking about that, I was thinking, how can you create that content and then give it so many more tentacles? How can you put that messaging into a newsletter? How can you put it into an email? How can you put that on LinkedIn? How can you give that more legs? And I want to show this to you guys again. Some of you are using it and some are not. So here's what I want to share with you is alright.ai. Okay, it's very simple. I don't need to go through a whole tutorial of AI, or excuse me, alright.ai. What it does is it allows you to take a video that you've created. Say you've posted it to YouTube, say it's still on your phone, and it's just a raw video. It allows you to then just take that video and plug it in to alright.ai. Now, what Alright does is they create an article based on what you said in that video. And let's just take a quick look at this. It says, hey, everyone, I want to take a moment to honor my neighbors who tragically lost their lives in a home fire recently. This devastating event has deeply impacted me and prompted a reflection on the importance of fire safety at home. It's a critical topic that often doesn't get enough attention until it's too late. In this article, I'll share some essential tips and precautions that can help prevent such tragedies in your own home. That whole opening statement was his, other than in this article, I'll share some essential tips and precautions. So what AI did is they took the highlights and the best of that video and they created this amazing article. Understanding the risks. Did you know that in California alone, there are over 3,000 home fires each year? Many of them incidences result in fatality, so on and so forth. Here's the measures. Here's the safety measures: smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, kitchen safety, electrical safety, creating a fire escape plan, and then supporting our local community and why this was so important to him and why it meant so much to him that he wants to make sure that he's supporting the community. And I want to pause there for a second. Do you think that this article comes across as an empathetic and heartwarming article? Please share with me your thoughts on that before I go any further. That means take yourself off of mute and chime in.
I love that, Coach. And I'm definitely going to implement that. I mean, think about all the different newsletters that you can come up with and send it out to your database, right? Like if you have nothing else to talk about, why don't you just send up an article of a video that you've already created? And by the way, follow-up question is, can you create articles out of other videos that other people have created?
I just did. I didn't create that video.
That's amazing. I'm using this right now.
All right. So here's the thing, you guys, and I appreciate the hands going up. All I did is this morning, because I had this idea as I'm prepping for coaching, I text Cortez, good morning. Do me a quick favor. Send me the raw video from your phone about fire safety. I want to use it in a demonstration this morning. Cool. So what he did is he sent me the raw video right on to my phone, and then I downloaded it to Slack. I always send myself messages in Slack so I never lose anything, and it sits right there, and I'll always be able to reference it. So then I just go here and I download that, and then I go to Alright, and I just upload the article. So if I go, let me go back to the app. So I just go here, create, and I just uploaded that file. I literally just dragged his file into there and let it generate and do its thing. That's it. And then I go back to it and say, okay, let's look at these articles. And this is the article that it created. And it was such a dope article. Now, if you're thinking about, well, I made a great video this week, but oh my God, I got to write something for my newsletter. Well, here you go. I want to send out a really dope email to my database. Well, here you go. I want to write something on LinkedIn because I know I'm missing out on LinkedIn. Well, here you go. Right. And I just want to give you an example of what this looks like. Every single week, you guys, I do the same exact thing. And if I go here, I'm going to go here to one of our team assistants. What she does is she takes clips from things that were said in group coaching, and she makes that into a link. And then that link is put into my newsletter and into my website. And oh my God, it goes on and on and on every single week. Did I write this? Did she write that? No, it came directly from what is said on these calls, put into an article, linked up, and I don't have to worry about creating something else every single week. I'm using one vertical or one piece of content and putting it on multiple verticals. It's here. You'll see the article right here. Boom, it's in the newsletter. It goes right to the article from alright.ai. So before I go any further, I'm excited about this because I was inspired by his video. I saw a hand up from Stephanie. And if you do have a hand up or contribution, use the icon button down below. But Stephanie, I don't want to miss out on your contribution.
Yeah, morning, guys. I just wanted to comment on Cortez's video. I saw it super early this morning and I was like, whoa, like that really resonated with me. I never think about things like that, right? You think about smoke detectors are so annoying. The beeping's always going off. You just take the batteries out because you don't want to deal with it. And then like the fire extinguisher, you know, making sure that it is, that it's not expired. Like I had a fire in my backyard once. Luckily, my friend's a firefighter and he was there, just so happened to be there. But these are things that you never really think about, you know? And I was like, wow, this is like really good information. So thank you for sharing that, Cortez. I'm so sorry that you went through that. Condolences to the family, but that is a really good video because those are little things that we often overlook that are very, very important and could save our lives.
Totally. And think about it this way. Maybe there is an audience or a demographic out there that maybe that is not on Instagram. That's not going to see that reel. But that content, like you said, Stephanie, is so good that it deserves to have other verticals. That's why you create it. And you didn't do anything except for put that dope video into AI and let it produce an article for you. Patrick, let's go to you. And then if anybody else has any questions or contributions, or if you want me to walk through it again, I can. If not, we're going to shift gears. Pat.
Hey, thank you. Good morning, guys. Yeah, no, I think that's a really powerful tool. My brain is just firing off cylinders here. I mean, we can go back to our old posts, you know, that we think is good, and even create articles from that, and then eventually possibly create PDF guidebooks, and then have that as a lead source as well. I mean, it doesn't stop there. Like my brain, I mean, this is powerful as hell, man. This is great. I also wanted to add on to it, and I'm going to share this, share a screenshot in the chat. But have you guys used the Meta AI chat search on Instagram to your advantage? Because I'm gonna type in a phrase right now that's been helping me out to create content ideas as well. And this is extracting data from Instagram itself. So type in that, and I'll show my image. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in.
All right. So are you going to share? Sorry, I thought you said you're going to share something. You're on mute again. Pat?
I think he did in the chat.
Oh, we did. Okay. Sorry. I missed that. All right. Extract relevant data based on my audience behavior to create a viral post for my niche. I mean, you guys, make things easier on yourself, right? Make it easier on yourself. I know that I could look around the room and I could look at, man, I see tons of content, tons of market updates, what's going on, interest rates, what's going on, so on and so forth, safety, do this. Hey, if you're a first-time home buyer, this video is for you. I got 3 things that you need to know about purchasing a home in Berkeley, Pinole, wherever you are. That is such great content that could be now put into an article and put into your newsletter, send out and Follow Up Boss, send out in MailChimp, use BombBomb, whatever you're using. But the point of this conversation is to take the dope videos that you're creating, allow AI to create a cool article for you and use that on multiple verticals. Any other questions, contributions on that subject before we go on? No? Very cool. Thank you for sharing. You got it. I highly encourage it. And feel free to send me your articles, you guys. I want to read those articles. I want to, share in your journey. But let's talk about this. I'm going to pull up an article from the California Association of Realtors. It applies directly to Wednesday because Wednesday we are always talking about the market. So let's go right into this, and I'll make sure to drop this in the chat down below. But this is a 2025 California housing market forecast. And you're going to see a lot of these forecasts, and obviously it's a forecast and it's a moving target, but I think that there's some conversation pieces here and we want to have that today. So it says California home sales and prices are projected to increase as buyers and sellers return to the market, enticed by lower interest rates by one and a better housing supply conditions. It says here that existing single-family homes are forecasted to total 304,000 units in 2025, an increase of 10% from 2024's projected pace of 274,400. You can see here that a price increase of 4.6 following a projected price increase of 6.6 or 6.8 from 2024. Now, housing affordability is always going to be a concern, especially in the Bay Area, but I want to talk about this section here. I want to ask you guys, if you can, take yourself off mute, throw your hand up. I want you guys to share with me, and I want to hear from you. This is really important. How is the lock-in effect going to impact the market moving forward in 2025? How is the lock-in effect going to impact the market in 2025? We know how it's impacted us in 2024. People want to hold. How will it impact us in 2025? So I need two parts of this. First off, who wants to explain to the group what a lock-in effect is? Just want to make sure we keep this one-on-one first. Who is going to raise their hand just to briefly explain what the lock-in effect is? And if you don't have your hand up and you're not raising your hand, I encourage you to just throw your name out there and don't be a usual suspect. Who wants to explain to the group? And Ashley, if I don't get a hand up, I'm going to you. Who wants to explain to the group what the lock-in effect is? And do not be shy. All right, cool. So let's go Hugo, and then we'll go Blessing, and I am going to go to Ashley as well. Hugo, what is the lock-in effect in less than 2 minutes?
What's up, Coach? So essentially, the lock-in effect, to my understanding, is pretty much the homeowners that have sweet, a nice interest rate, so like 2 and 3%, that for them selling and moving on to a bigger house or maybe a smaller house, for them it's kind of like a loss because they're gonna have a higher monthly payment, or at least they feel like that's what's gonna happen.
Cool. Yeah, well said. Blessing, same to you. Same question to you.
Yeah, I had to look it up just so I made sure that I understood it correctly. It is all of those people that were able to take advantage of the lowest interest rates, like the historical lows of the pandemic years. So anyone that has a 2% interest rate, there's really no reason for them to ever touch it. However, life is still going to happen. So if they need to move, they're going to put those homes up there and need someone to be able to guide them into a home that they're probably going to see what's a normal interest rate of 5-6% or 7%, what is average over years, and they're going to think that that's crazy, and why would they do that? So there's going to need to be the education of the fact that they capitalized on, again, historic lows that we probably will never see again, and are moving more into a normal market. And they're going to need advisors who understand the time that they're in, but that unwillingness to sell their home is also what's contributing to low inventory. So we just have to be mindful of all of the levers and all of the features that go along with the fact that you guys got a great deal, but the rest of us need you to sell your house.
Yeah, and so good stuff. And I love your vantage point. Great stuff, Hugo. Let's go to Ashley. And then I saw me. I didn't know what the me was. And I saw literally me. So I want to address those two comments in the chat in just a second. But Ashley, talk to us a little bit about the lock-in effect and how it will impact the market in 2025, projections, forecasts. Let's hear a little bit from you.
All right, Hugo and Blessing hit the nail on the head. It's the majority of people are in these 3% rates, and they see this massive mortgage payment compared to what they have. And so they are locked into their current property, whether they are comfortable or not, because of the fear of the interest rates. Now, going into 2025, from my vantage point, I think a lot of these people are starting to feel really uncomfortable. Families are growing, the houses are maybe they're growing on them. This was just supposed to be their first stepping stone house, and now they've been in it for 5-7 years, and at this point they're thinking, okay, maybe it's worth a little bit more. Now, last year a little bit more was 7-8%. This year a little bit more could be 5-6%. So I think that bridge is shortening, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to sway these people in these 3% interest rates to finally list their homes.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Really, really good contribution. And I'm going to go to Mel and to Brianna in just a second, but let's just look at this here. And once again, I'll make sure to drop this article so you guys can see it. It says an increase in home sales along with lower borrowing costs, is expected to entice more buyers and sellers to enter the market in 2025, said CAR president. Demand will grow as we start this year with the lowest interest rates in more than 2 years, particularly for first-time homebuyers. Meanwhile, would-be sellers held back by the lock-in effect will have more flexibility to pursue a home that better suits their needs as mortgage rates continue to decline. That's going to be the impact as we move forward. These people that were fearful that they're going to walk into a more expensive home, even if it's a smaller home, less bills, less utilities, all the things, they're like, no way, no how. Even a percentage change. You've seen it with your buyers. Oh, now that's doable. A percentage change might now tell a seller, I'm ready. I just needed to see that 1% drop in order for me to feel comfortable moving to Arizona to be closer to my grandbabies, right? And so I think that this is definitely going to impact. Let's hear from Mel. Let's hear from Brianna. And Mel, I'm going to have you take over for just a second, pass the mic to Brianna, but let's hear your contribution.
Yeah, so I bought my house right at the peak of the market in December of 2020, and my interest rate is like 3.2%. There's absolutely no way that you can beat that in any market right now, or any market in the future. I don't think we'll ever go back down to 3.2%. And Ashley, feel free to chime in on that. But you know, we bought the house. It was our first home. It was our starter home. We bought it right when we got married. We didn't have a baby yet, so it was the perfect fit for us. Well, now we have a baby, but we live 30 minutes away, all the way in Oakley. And we are at the point now where we've been there almost 4 years. We really want better schools. We really want to be closer to my family who's in Walnut Creek. And I probably drive about 100 miles a day. Like, I am always in the car. I drive about 100 miles a day on average. It's 30 miles from my house to downtown Walnut Creek to my gym, and 30 miles back. That's 60 miles already, not including everything else I do in between. So, you know, it's an inconvenience, but we made that sacrifice. And there's a lot of factors in play. You know, are we going to be able to buy a $1.5 million house in Walnut Creek? Are we going to be able to float 2 mortgages or an interest rate at 6 or 7%? There's a lot of factors in play. So, Ashley, feel free to educate me on HELOCs and how they work, because I'm very interested. But yeah, other than that, I'll pass it over to Brianna.
Beautiful. Yeah, Brianna, you put a resounding me in the chat. Let's hear from you. Tell us a little bit about what resonated for you or your contribution.
I am one of those two, but I bought my house in 2016 when houses were still really low in the Central Valley. And then I refinanced into a 2.7. So we have exploded out of my house, but our mortgage is so low. Going into anything bigger we're just like, ouch, but we need to. So I can resonate with that completely.
Yeah, because there's some people out there that just need room for more chickens, right? Or they need less room for less chickens, or they need a llama, or whatever it is, right? Like they want. So give me an example, you guys. So my mother-in-law has owned a house in Salida for 41 years. Now, grandma's getting a little bit older. She's 73 years old, and she has no desire to move out of that house. That house is paid off. But she knows that we're looking for a home. So she's like, let's just sell my home. I'll move in with you guys. You take care of me until I'm older. And it's just like she no longer has the need for a home to be by herself. She doesn't want to go live in a community with older people because she doesn't like people that much. She doesn't like people that much, but she likes us, right? So she likes us. And I'm like, my wife's like, would you be okay with that? I was like, would you be okay with my mom coming and live with us? That is a non-negotiable. Of course I would be, right? We make adjustments for our family. And so, you know, the needs change. Grandma can't get around as well anymore. She has a bad knee. She's sometimes on a walker. She left the water on last week and flooded her kitchen. So it's just like the needs change of people. And it's not always derived on interest rates and financial. There's other things that are driving the consumer behaviors. And I think we're going to see more and more of this come up in 2025. And I am okay with grandma living with us and us taking care of her. That's a situation that we didn't foresee a couple years ago, but times have changed. Circumstances have changed. Ro, let's go to you.
Yeah, good morning. And that album, by the way, is the bomb. So
you know what? I Daniela Lopez the other day, she's like, one of my favorite albums. And I'm thumbing through the records that my mom and my aunt used to smoke weed to in the garage at my grandma's house that they brought me a crate of. And I found this record. And I was like, how cool is this? But yeah, one of the
Hands
best.
down. So just to put this in perspective, this weekend I was putting on my open house signs, and this lady, probably in her 80s, was coming from Mass with her little umbrella, and she stopped and to talk to me, and she said, "Oh, I bought that house right there. You see the house with the flag right next door in 1981." And we started talking about the market a little bit, and she said our mortgage had a 14%. That was our rate, 14%. So she said, you know, when you think about that, for us to get back to 2.5% or 3%, something really catastrophic would have to happen. So hopefully that won't be the case, but it just put in perspective that things aren't as bad as they could be. So yeah, so I had a really great conversation with her about paying off her house and how long it took and all of that. So
Yeah, I believe, and Ashley, maybe you can speak more to this. We'll never be at those rates again, ever. So the economy needed to stabilize through coronavirus and through, shelter in place. We needed to find a way to stabilize. Now, we had never been through a pandemic like that and the world shutting down. So the government had to adjust, right, to make sure that we still, had some type of stability in the market. And that's why it was a frenzy. It was a frenzy. I don't believe that we'll ever go into the twos again. And I believe that for the first time, if you've been in this game since 2021, 2000, I think this is the first time in the last 5 years that we're at a normal market. This is a normal market, right? And so Ashley, would like to get your thoughts on that. I saw you shaking your head, but I don't think that we'll ever go back. This is normal, guys. This is a normal market.
Yeah, I've seen it 2 times in my career. When I was at the bank, I saw it during the 2008, 2011. And obviously, we all know how catastrophic that was. And I saw it during COVID. And so the only thing that could bring that about is something catastrophic that none of us want. So I don't think we'll ever see it again. I'm hoping, honestly, that we don't ever see it again, because that means a lot of other things are not doing well.
Yeah, it's just it was unbalanced, and so the government tried to find balance, and so yeah, that means that something truly has to happen that is going to impact us all in other ways. Because I don't know about you, I don't ever want to go back to a shelter in place. Right, there was some cool times, and you got to spend time at the home and stuff, but I don't ever want to go back to that time. I just don't. Remember showing homes with mask on and that whole time. It was awful. I don't really ever want to go back to that. So, you guys. I want you to be in front of this conversation. I want you to be able to talk to buyers that are on the fence when they're thinking about, you know what, I'm not wanting to purchase home. I don't know if it's a good time. Well, here, I want to share a recent article with you that came out. It's a forecast article from the California Association of Realtors. It states that on an average next year, houses are projected to go up about 6.8%. So what does that mean to you? At any given year, you're looking at, let's say, if I'm conservative, a 5% appreciation year over year. What does that type of appreciation or equity do for your family? What type of stability does that offer your family? And I know it's challenging because you're thinking about the immediate, but I want you to think about the course of the next 3 years. And if you stack 5%, and some years it's going to be more, what opportunities does that open for you guys? And can you leverage the money that you've built in the home and take that and buy investment properties or buy an Airbnb or whatever the case is? And so it's important that you help the clients see the long term, right? It's easy for them to say, oh my God, right now, down payment, EMD, but we need to be able to be amazing storytellers and help them see the future. That's what's great about you and what you're able to do is you can take them down that journey. I did want to have a conversation this morning about insurance because this is now a concern. I know that people are walking away from deals. They're not able to cross the finish line. They're dropping out of escrow because of insurance. And I want to ask you guys, have you faced this challenge with finding or having the client find insurance for their home anywhere in the Bay Area? If you have, how are you addressing that? And during your consultation, are you bringing up insurance? And how are you bringing it up? And how are you addressing it? Seeing as that there's a shortage of companies and options that offer insurance in California right now. Who's facing this? How are you addressing it? And let's have that conversation because I believe it's important. Let's go Stephanie, and then we'll go Damien. And feel free, you guys, get your hands up. I want you involved in this conversation. Stephanie.
So the very first thing I do when a buyer goes into contract, we immediately get 2 quotes the two agents that I work with, because insurance is such a hot topic, right? And it varies so much from company to company. So I have two agents that I work with. One is here, one is in Rancho Cucamonga. I just happened to find on Instagram, but he has saved me several times. So it's super important that we do that immediately the moment that they get into contract so we can compare. I also have the client contact whoever they have their car or their car insurance with, because sometimes they can get a discount if they bundle it. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes my guy in Rancho Cucamonga will beat out these other companies, but it is crucial that we get that up front, because it can be like a $2,500 bill for the year, right? And that's going to send your DTI through the roof, and then they'll no longer qualify. So it's very important that we do that right away when you're still within contingency. Before, I think people were really laxy-daisy about the insurance. That's not our reality anymore. We got to do that immediately because it's skyrocketing and we're going to see more increases going forward, right? Bamboo was one of the cheaper companies in that we've been using, and they've already said they're doing, I think, a 30% rate hike or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It's a lot though. I was kind of mind blown on that because that's usually one of the cheaper ones. And yes, I will share his contact. They're amazing, both of the agents I work with, but absolutely do that up front because that could be the difference between qualifying and not qualifying.
God, I love that. And also, if they don't have a quote, they get into contract, and let's say you're in a competitive market and you're trying to remove contingencies. Well, you can't remove a loan contingency if we don't know what they're covered for insurance. So you don't want to put your client in a really, really tough situation. So Stephanie, love this. And look at all the hands that are up. I absolutely love this contribution. So thank you, Stephanie. We're going to pass the mic to Chris. Lisa, you'll be on deck. Demian, we'll just get through all the hands. And then Ilona as well. And blessing. So let's go, Chris. Chris, looking sharp this morning. You got a tie on, big dog?
Yeah, I got invited to a 20-member car roundtable by one of the execs.
Nice.
To talk about the state of the market and all that stuff. So I couldn't pass that up. I think Kenny might be there also. She told me that she invited Kenny. So we'll see.
Very cool.
But anyways, I had a situation in a closing of Vallejo where we had to get an extension. They were first approved with insurance, and then last minute insurance said they've reached a certain limit and they can't approve the house anymore. And then when we got other quotes were so much higher that it almost jeopardized the deal. But fortunately, they connected with an insurance broker that was able to get them an affordable rate. So it is definitely an issue right now with a lot of companies. Even my own insurance here has probably doubled like in the last 5 years. You know? And I'm not even in a fire zone. And my old insurance company was trying to kick me off and said, so it's just an issue right now in places like in El Dorado County. I have a buyer right now looking between Folsom and El Dorado County, and I told her that El Dorado County got to be careful and do your research up front for the fire insurance. She had no idea about all the issues, with a Fair Act plan and all that good stuff. So it's something that you need to bring up front and let people know, especially people that are going out to more rural areas, because you might be able to find a deal, but there's some of those areas is the reason why you get acreage for less, because a fire insurance is like the cost of a house payment, and people just don't know that. And he's got to just keep them informed and bring value every conversation you have with them, because when you do that, that's when you build credibility, and they're more willing to act upon your guidance when you tell them the little details that they don't know about. So insurance is a big deal right now. And it sucks, man. Even car insurance. My car insurance went up probably 60%, when we have all A+ drivers. It still bumped it up. So it's just the state of what everything is right now. So it's up to us to have our clients just feel comfortable with what we know and be proactive and state the obstacles before they come.
I love this. So let me ask you, as you're kind of setting the framework for details and adding value, at what stage, if you're looking at just your buyer's consultation, at what stage of your buyer's consultation are you introducing the conversation about insurance? How are you inserting that into the conversation?
Pretty much when you go into talking about disclosures and inspections and all that good stuff,
okay,
you bring up the insurance issue, and you let them know that you have insurance agent in your pocket. We gotta get quotes up front before we even put the offer. Honestly, you don't want to put an offer in, and next thing you know, the insurance is $5,000 a month, and the debt to income ratios are blown out the water, or a year or whatnot. So that's a conversation that everybody needs to state up front, because if it blows up because of that and you didn't mention it to your clients, you're gonna look like you're not gonna look professional.
That's right. That's right. So really good stuff. And you guys, this is very important, especially in the new world. So you have two new things for consumers. Now, most of the consumers, you're still able to get your concessions paid by the sellers. We're seeing at a very high level that sellers are still paying concessions. But in the event that the seller is not going to pay a concession, and that's the responsibility of the buyer, plus they're having to pay elevated insurance rates, that might impact us, and it might impact the way that you can or cannot get paid. And so getting in front of obstacles and stating the obvious to us is super crucial, you guys. You have to allow yourself to throw everything on the table to educate them and advocate for them. So Chris, love this sentiment. Let's go D, Bledsoe, and then we'll go Lisa, Ely, Blessing, and Ilona. Let's go D. Thank you, Chris.
Good morning. Yeah, I had a condo closing here in Oakland a couple months ago, and the buyer ran into the insurance issue. She needed fire insurance for this particular unit, and I hadn't run into this issue since, you know, all these insurers started pulling out of the market, pulling out of California. But yeah, she was going to have to pull out of the deal because she couldn't afford the fire insurance. And then lo and behold, she found far cheaper insurance by getting online quotes. And I'm not sure how reliable that is, but it worked. I mean, it was like a third of the quotes that she was getting from insurers that we were calling around about. So yeah, that worked out great. But now I'm starting to have that conversation with more buyers where it wasn't a conversation before. Like, be aware that insurance is rising. There's less people insuring homes in California, so you have to be aware of that. But I like that today on market updates, because again, it is something else that we need to be knowledgeable about and having conversations with our clients about.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, good stuff. And I'm so glad that this is a topic that is hitting for you guys, because it has to be a part of your market conversation about what's happening through the buyer's consultation. So really glad that we're having this conversation. Let's go Lisa, and then we'll go Ilona, and then when Blessing gets back in the car, we'll turn it to her. Let's go Lisa.
Hey there. Okay, so I had a closing a couple months ago, and the home was in an HOA, and it was inherited property. So the children thought the exterior was covered by the HOA, and it was not. And the roof was in horrible shape, and it wound up jeopardizing the insurance coverage. So we lucked out, and we were able to get a credit and have the roof replaced prior to close of escrow. So my buyer was really happy, got that all taken care of, and then she was able to get insurance at a decent rate. But I also have someone right now looking up towards the hills, and there's a property he's interested in. Insurance on that is anywhere between $7,000 and $14,000 a year. And it's probably just not going to be a go for him. But yeah, like Chris was saying, having the conversation up front is crucial right now. So I'm having that conversation, just going into the buyer consultation and disclosures.
Yeah. And having resources and having a guide and having go-to people, like Stephanie was saying, really good stuff. Appreciate your contribution, Lisa. Let's go over to Ilona, and then Blessing, you're back in the car, so we'll go back over to you. So let's go, Ilona.
I just think that it would be really sweet, because this is a changing situation in our market, if we could have a working document with Team Fast that kind of anybody who wants to share good insurance agents that they've used, because, you know, it's not like lenders. So I feel like you can even have an insurance agent, you know, really far away, and they can still cover your property. So it would be really sweet, you know, because then someone could reference a couple of the people on that list, because I've been having the same thing. I had 2 closings, and I submitted to 2 different companies, and one came back 3 times more than the other because they were looking at past insurance claims on the property. But then we got it for a third less. But then I went back to the same 2 people for a different property, and it was vice versa. The one that was really expensive for that property ended up being cheaper for the other property. So it's like, you can't really even say that this one is better, this one is cheaper, because it all depends on the property that is being looked at. So I think it'd be really cool to have a working document somewhere in Slack or something that people could add the agents that they think are valuable, and then we could all have access to it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's an amazing idea. So let us get to work on that. Ilona, appreciate your contributions. Good seeing you this week, by the way, even though it was hot, but it was good seeing you for a short time. Let's go to Blessing. Blessing, contribution on the topic.
Yeah, had a great opportunity to step out and meet one of the neighbors. So always, anytime you are out in escrow and you see the neighbors, have the conversation. Totally just got a lead on a listing, so I couldn't pop that. I couldn't pass it up. But Stephanie, going all the way back, had mentioned that rate hikes were for the specific company were going to be about 30%. Last week in my BNI networking group, I was talking to our business, our commercial insurance and our residential insurance professionals, and they were letting me know that the insurance companies have been asking for rates for the better part of 10 years, and they've been getting like incremental, like tiny ones. And it's finally been like green lighted that the increases are going to be like, they're going to catch up on some of those increases. So it's not just specifically that one that's going to see a 30% increase. It's kind of going to be, well, it's going to be across the board that we're going to see double-digit increases for the next few years, because the regulatory commissions are finally allowing those rate hikes that the insurance companies have been asking for years. So just brace yourself all the way across that there are going to be increases, especially just to catch up from all of the claims that have been paid out. So the more information I get from them, I will pass that on too.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So you guys, we shared the article, California Association of Realtors. We talked about the lock-in effect, how that will potentially impact our buyers and sellers in 2025. I believe that in the next couple months, we're going to see more inventory. We're going to see more people open to selling their homes. We're obviously going to see more demand. First of the year, it always brings out the people that wanted to wait past the holidays. So I think that this is a perfect time for you to make sure that all of your systems in place, make sure that you understand your buyer's consultation, the flow, all the nuances, making sure that you really understand how to explain agency agreement compensation. I believe since the 17th of August, we've done a really good job as an organization, not fumbling over that. Now, obviously nothing's perfect, but when I look at our stats and our figures, you figure that maybe you'd see a decrease in sales. We haven't, because what you guys have done is that you guys have done the work. You've been prepared, you've attended the workshops, you've come to our internal trainings, and you got to continue to do those things. And so I think this was a really effective conversation. I wanted to ask you guys, is there any market that you have wrote an offer on recently or gone on a listing presentation where it was just some abnormalities, like there it was just craziness, 50 people coming to the open houses, or have you experienced a market where it's just super slow and you're trying to figure it out? Like, does anybody have any data for a particular area, market, city, zip code that they want to share, like, hey, this is information that you probably need to know if you're going to be showing houses in these areas? Anybody have any intel, market specific information that they want to share on the call today? Let's go to me. And tell your wife we said hello, because I know she's your gym buddy. You tell her I said hello.
Yeah, she's somewhere over here. But Vacaville, yeah, I got this listing. We're nearing 50 days on the market, and I would typically be freaking out by now, but as I checked last week, there were like 30 homes on the market in the same criteria of 3-4 bedrooms that were on the market longer than this listing. So things are just moving super slow in Vacaville, and I keep having to backtrack on the data so that I can tell my seller, don't panic, even though I am a little bit. But yeah, all of the data shows that things just move slower, especially homes being resold. There's a lot of new builds out there that people are opting for, so it's even harder to get an existing home sold in an area like that. But yeah, Vacaville is slow. And I have a specific deal if anybody has clients looking out there.
Yeah, and that goes back to some like the normalcy in other normal markets, longer than 30 days. on the market, that was normal, but we're used to like, oh, 10 days, 14 days, 2 days on the market, we're getting offers. So I think that we got a little spoiled over the last couple of years, but it's also setting those expectations, which I think that you articulated well, that sharing with the consumers the reality of the data. So good stuff. We'll go over to Blessing one more time, and then we'll start to wrap session. You'll be next, Vernon. Let's go, Blessing.
Okay, so this is Invitation Homes is one of those national corporate real estate portfolio buyers. They will buy specific homes across the country that are typically 550,000 and under your basic starter home. I remember reading an article a couple of weeks ago that because of their loss throughout the year, Q4 is going to be a big quarter for them to offload some of their property. They have a listing in Pittsburgh right now, 2187 Rancho Way. It is currently listed at 630,000. My client submitted an offer at 640. Our counter last night was purchase price to be 700,000 with no appraisal contingency. I have never laughed out loud immediately seeing it, but here's the thing. These corporate buyers, because their bottom line is what's driving them, also comps in the area do not support even a 660 purchase price. It's just not there. They are only worrying about their bottom line. So they have to sell this. They bought it 2 months, 3 months ago for 500,000. There's no market right now that's going to force appreciation of $200,000. It is a beautiful home, but it's just not the case. So right now, like my admonition to any of the buyers right now is like, don't feel that if you're tired of looking and you're going to miss out, that you waive an appraisal contingency, because we as agents know what that is. We know that they know that it's not going to appraise. They want this high price and it has to be this way. So just keeping an eye out for any listings by Invitation Homes. And now the tricky thing is, on all of the seller paperwork, it doesn't mention it. You had to go into the property record to see that it was an Invitation home. So do your due diligence and go a step further. I even called it out to the listing agent, said your paperwork's not correct because it actually doesn't match the seller of the on property record, and got shut down. So I knew exactly what it is. So just keep an eye out for Invitation Homes offloading so that they can have a year that ends in the black.
Yeah, that's a shocker that they'll counter you with no appraisal contingency, with no data that supports you removing that contingency.
And
yeah.
I asked for the comps, they didn't have any.
Yeah, of course they don't, because there's nothing that supports that. So in some markets you're going to experience that. Yeah, there's a couple solds. I know a few pending, like the data supports it, or the consumer doesn't care and they're going to liquidate some assets. They're going to pay that cash. But for the most case, they don't have that ability. So good stuff. I appreciate that information. Let's go to you, Vernon. We'll have you be the last contribution, and then we'll start wrapping session.
Yeah, Coach, I just want to speak on the Vallejo market. I know that myself, V, and I believe Ophelia have had listings within the last 30 days in Vallejo, and these properties are going fast. I think V accepted an offer 4 days. I accepted one in 7 days. I think that Ophelia did the same thing. So if it's priced right, Vallejo is one of those Bay Area real estate markets that still have affordability. And so, I received multiple offers, got 30K over asking in 7 days of going live. So as it relates to the Vallejo market, it's hot, right? I'm seeing properties, if they're marketed correctly and they're priced correctly, they're not staying on the market very long. So if you're looking for affordability and you're looking for your clients looking for a bigger bang for their buck, I would really have you guys consider the Vallejo market.
Yeah, and Blessing, I think that this ties into your consumer that's looking El Sobrante. Maybe if we can get him just to open his mind to go, to Vallejo, go a little bit further out, maybe he finds something that's, that he'd be open to based on his price point. That's not necessarily a complete fixer. So, food for thought here, but really, really good session, you guys. I appreciate everyone's contribution. Sorry, Cynthia, do you have one last rapid fire contribution? Let's go, Cynthia.
Well, it's not a contribution, it's a question. Between the two cities, Vallejo and Vacaville, is Fairfield. So what's happening there? Because I have a client that's looking in that area. So Vallejo being reasonable and affordable, Vacaville being kind of the same, but what's happening in Fairfield, which is kind of in the middle, if anybody knows, want to share real quick.
Yeah, if anyone is privy on what's happening in Fairfield. And if no one has that answer, I would look at year-over-year data, and you can pull that from your MLS. What I would do is I would run some comps, from last year for a certain time frame, and then I would run comps from this year, certain time frame, and just compare, right? Are values up? Are prices up? Are there multiple offers? Is there, multiple longer days on the market? And you can do all that through your MLS. And if you need some help, just reach out to me. I can help you with that. But if we don't have any, answers on that, I'll help you pull that data so you know exactly what's happening in that Fairfield market. But you guys, really, really good session. I appreciate all the contributions at a very high level. Let's go around the room and hear a couple key takeaways from people on the call today. Let's go over to Jessica Segura Hernandez. One key takeaway from our time together today, and then we'll just go to a couple other guests.
Okay, good morning, everyone. One key takeaway is that is to make sure to contact an insurance agent before submitting an offer. So that was the main one.
Yep, and I agree with Melody's comment in the chat down below. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go, Pat. Pat, one key takeaway from our time together today.
Yeah, one key takeaway is, make it easier for you. Don't reinvent the wheel. We have new technology that really can elevate our business to another level, and we got to use them. And the insurance for sure. I didn't even know about that. So biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and I appreciate this. Somebody turned me on to alright.ai. I actually did a keynote once on it, but being able to take the great stuff that you're creating and create these articles. I've had people say, "Oh, I get your article every single week." Cool. I didn't write that. I just made a video, or you guys said something on coaching, and then it created this cool article. And so leverage the heck out of technology. So really good stuff. Let's go to one last contribution before we wrap sesh. Let's go Princess Cole. Princess Cole, one key takeaway from our time together today.
Exactly what you said just now, leveraging, we have the information out there, just taking that and being able to, can you say R&D? So definitely that's our advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, no matter what era you were from, I'm not necessarily considered like a young person on the team. I'm 44 years old. No matter where you fall, demographically, age group, AI is here, and AI is going to continue to get better, and they're going to continue to enhance the way that we do our job. Now, they're never going to take the human out of what we do. What they're going to do is they're going to enhance it. And let me share that one more time with you. AI is not designed to create your messaging. They're designed to enhance the messaging that you created, and you tell them exactly how you want it to build on your messaging. If you're looking at AI to help you build your brand or to help you build your messaging, you're going about it all wrong. AI is there to enhance the messaging that you've created and help you have ideas to place it on multiple verticals. AI is going to enhance the way that we do our job. So if you're not leaning into technology, listen, you guys, 5 years ago, I was not tech savvy. I consider myself to be tech savvy now. And I saw where the industry was going. So I said, you know what? I'm either going to get left behind or I'm going to be ahead of the curve. And so that choice is up to you guys. So listen, have an amazing, amazing Wednesday, you guys. Take something that you heard from today and go apply it in your life and business. My hope is that you sign up for alright.ai. I think the charge monthly for me is like $10, $9.99. I could be wrong, but it can't be over $20. But I promise you guys that will enhance the way that you guys are doing your business. I dropped the article from the California Association of Realtors in the chat below. So I have less than 2 minutes to grab that article. If you are on the team, that article does exist in Slack in market updates. And so you guys, I appreciate all of your contributions at a very, very high level. Congratulations on all your success and congratulations on your growth. This is an important time for you guys. If you guys are not raising the intensity, if you guys aren't thinking about 2025, the 2.0 Kelly, the 2.0 Ashley, what you're going to do, how you're going to grow, how you're going to do things a little bit different, this is the time that you guys should be thinking about all those things. The new year will be here in a blink of an eye. So let's finish 2024 strong and let's walk into 2025 with some serious swag, some bravado, ready to crush the new year. You guys, if you need anything, you know where to find me. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. Peace.